afternoon on this third day of April. Thank you for keeping it TV47. You are just in time for 4 p.m. news now with I, Sheila Chelangat. But first, let's take a look at the highlights. The highlights. Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah faces fiery backlash during President Ruto's visit as he is heckled by furious crowd. Kenya on the brink of a vaccine shortage as 1.6 billion debt to Global Alliance for Vaccine and Immunization threatens immunization supply in the coming months. And Homa Bay gears up for the highly anticipated Devolution conference set for August 12th to 15th this year. Thank you for joining. 15 minutes of this bulletin begins now. Kenya is staring at a possible shortage of routine vaccines in the next 2 months due to a staggering 1.6 billion Kenyan shillings debt owed to the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization (GOtv). Health stakeholders are now warning that the country is projected to face a 9.6 billion Kenyan shillings funding gap annually if GOtv pulls out by 2029.
We are gravely concerned by the persistent delay in meeting Kenya's co-financing obligations under the GOtv agreement. The total co-financing requirements for the fiscal year of 2024-2025 stands at US dollars 12,485,880. Alarmingly, no payment has been made to date. With the deadline fast approaching of June 30th, 2025, Kenya faces the very real threat of vaccine stockouts that will directly impact the health of millions of children across the country.
What we have seen is that, yes, the country is putting in money. There is a dedicated budget line for immunization in our budget. But then, of course, when we look at the previous financial years, we've seen that we are allocating an average of around 1.5% of the national budget to immunization. And when we looked at the year 2020-2021, the country had put in around 1.4 billion shillings, which is on average about 13.5 million USD to support immunization. At that point, that was a significant increase in vaccine financing by the country because the previous year we had around 751.9 million.
And into the world of politics, Kikuyu MP and Majority Leader in the National Assembly, Kimani Ichung'wah, was heckled earlier today in Olkalau Town, Nyandarua County, during President William Ruto's ongoing tour of the Mount Kenya region. Ichung'wah's attempt to ward off the heckling by the agitated crowd bore no fruit, forcing him to cut short his speech in front of President William Ruto. Ichung'wah has been a vocal critic of former DP Rigathi Gachagua. President William Ruto launched various projects in Nyandarua and Murang'a counties on day 3 of his tour in the Mount Kenya region.
Mheshimiwa Rais, mimi akaida mwela holai niye digabagaliwa. Hawa watu wa Kware, Mheshimiwa Rais, wamesema hii affordable housing iko hapa. Ile mawe yote inajengwa hapo, ikiwekwa kablo, ipewe hawa vijana affordable housing. Leo mwenene niye nione yote.
And still on the same Nyeri, Governor Mutahi Kahiga has rubbished claims that the Mount Kenya region is warming up to President William Ruto, even as he continues his tour of the region. Kahiga insists that the residents have welcomed the president as a way of getting development in the region. A section of leaders had cast aspersions on the viability of the president's tour after his fallout with former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua.
Unajua ni mimi nimekuwa si mimi mwenyewe pia nilimkaribisha Nyeri na kwa sababu ni rais na mimi ni gavana na nikampokea lakini hata yeye mwenyewe anajua uchangamfu uliokuwako mwanzo na ule uliokuwa wakati huu kuna tofauti, kwa sababu kuna yale mambo ambayo yalitendeka ambayo hayajakuwa. Unajua watu wa Mlima Kenya huwa sio watu wa kuchangamka na kupiga nduru na kufanya nini. Wakikasirika huwa wananyamaza. Sasa juzi tulisikia, tulielezwa kwamba rais anakuja, tukaambiwa kwamba anatuletea mazawadi, basi tukajitokeza na tumepata. Nataka niseme hivi, rais ni kingpin wa Kenya, lakini pengine sio kingpin wa Mlima. Ukimwona mwambie Mheshimiwa Rais, wewe ni kingpin wa Kenya, lakini kwa Mlima una wenyewe.
And moving on, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC has confirmed that they have summoned Machakos County Executive Committee member for Finance Onesmus Muye Kuyu to record a statement at the Commission's headquarters. This comes after the EACC officers stormed Machakos County headquarters offices and Level 5 hospital offices in Machakos County. The officers sped out of the compound after a long stay at the premises without uttering a word to members of the press who had gathered there and were asked to leave the premises by police officers. The confirmations dispelled contrary reports that had indicated that Onesmus Muye had been arrested. And police officers are holding one man in police custody at Likuyani police station over allegations of killing his friend with steel. The incident happened after a bizarre argument erupted between two men over tobacco change of 50 shillings at plot 10 in Seregea, Likuyani sub-county. Angry residents led by Nyumba Kumi chairman Jacob Makungai says the suspect named Francis Mushila told officers that he killed his friend Vitalis Shindeye, who was just 42 years old, over tobacco change. The family of the bereaved Vitalis Shidenye, led by his sister-in-law Jane Kashoha and his nephew Evelyn Lihanda, have dismissed the allegations. Well, the family believes that the deceased, who was living alone, might have been killed by a customer who bought his land earlier this year. The family is now urging investigators to conduct thorough investigations to get justice.
Alikuwa na mwenzake huyu marehemu hapo awali. Huyu marehemu akanunua tumbako ya shilingi 50 na yeye akamkoni akausia mtu mwingine. Huyu marehemu alikuwa anadaingi yeye. Sasa wakati marehemu alimuona akipita karibu na kwake, akamuuliza usiku hiyo akienda Madanga, akamuuliza, kwa nini wewe ulichukua tumbako yangu? Unipe tumbako yangu. Na ndiye jukumu yenye walifurukana mpaka wakafika akamuua.
Zidi kufanya juu na chini ili iwe funzo kwa wale wengine wa tabia kama hii. Sasa unaua ndugu yangu bure, ana makosa. Amefanya kitendo kibaya ambaye kinaweza leta uhasama, na tunaomba wananchi wawe watulivu. Sauri mwenye kukosa ni mmoja, na wacha makosa yaandamane na yeye.
Shamba liuza Januari, akapewa pesa nusu, ikabaki kidogo. Akatoka jioni kwenda kuchukua hiyo pesa. Alikuwa ametiwa pesa kidogo, alikuwa ametiwa kidogo. Saa 1:30 saa 2 nasikia nduru moja tu, woi, acha kunua. Nikakuta soja amekalia babangu mdogo na chuma.
Tukaangalia marehemu, tukapata mifuko zimetoka nje, pesa hakuna. Tukaingia kwa nyumba yake, tukaangalia tu kupata kwa pesa. Sasa maskari walikuja wakaangalia marehemu, walipata tu shilingi 150 peke yake.
Indeed, quite an unfortunate incident. Away from that, it is approximately 130 days until the Devolution conference set to take place in Homa Bay County from the 12th to the 15th of August this year. Today, the Devolution conference registration website was launched, marking the commencement of registration for the event by members of the public. This event is seen as a significant one in the Devolution calendar and will convene key stakeholders in Kenya's devolution process to highlight the country's exceptional accomplishments and advancement in devolution.
For quite some time, there has been an element of trying to, blacklist devolution as not succeeding. But every one of us here comes from a county, and you can tell the difference. This is the opportunity we have to showcase what we have done over a period of time.
But I think this year's DevCon is a CSO DevCon, because if you look at the issues of social justice, of inclusion, of the issues that we are talking about, leaving no one behind, I think they are the issues at the heart of both our private sector and our civil society organizations. So I want to challenge you that this year's DevCon is your DevCon. And during the Devolution conference, you will experience the stunning yet unexplored beauty of Homa Bay.
And the Russian Cultural Workshop aims to highlight the key challenges faced by schools, share practical solutions and support strategies, and explore future development plans focusing on infrastructure, academics and mentorship. It also serves as a platform to foster collaboration among stakeholders for the collective improvement of the learning environment. During the workshop, students from each school visited were introduced to Russian culture and learned basic Russian language.
The architecture can be found interspersed among Soviet-era buildings. A city on the move, new theaters and cultural attractions are opening up in Vladivostok, while it's
in Russia. His name is Vladimir Putin.
The architecture can be found interspersed among Soviet-era buildings. A city.
Let's get sporty, and Arne Slot's Liverpool are just 13 points away from clinching the English Premier League title as they secured a crucial 1-0 victory over their noisy neighbours Everton in a tight All right, that concludes News Now at 4 with I, Sheila Chelangat. Thank you for keeping it TV47 always. Have yourselves a good afternoon.
Our world is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's mind. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.